Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're taking the source material you sent in and charting a course for what is, it's arguably one of the most daunting projects an enterprise can face.
Oh, absolutely. Migrating your entire business infrastructure to the AWS cloud.
Yeah, and when you look at the sheer scale of it, you can see why people get nervous.
Totally. We're not talking about, a few shared documents. We're talking about business critical applications, databases with all your customer data,
Everything.
sometimes petabytes of it,
Yeah.
and it all has to keep running during the move. If it stops, the business just stops.
Exactly. And the big lesson, right from the top of all this research, is that so many organizations make the same mistake.
They treat it like a tech chore.
Yes. They think it's just copying files over a really big internet pipe.
It's such a short-sighted view. This is, at its core, a business transformation project. It's not an IT engineering one.
So if you don't get the finance department on board, or retrain your people.
Or rewrite your governance rules first. Yeah, the whole project can just stall out, even with perfect technology.
Okay, so our mission for you today is to cut right through that complexity. We're going to build out the complete picture by focusing on three essential areas.
Right.
First, we're going to establish the foundation, the strategy, using the AWS Cloud Adoption Framework, the CAF.
Then we'll get into the actual methods you use to move the applications. That's the famous 7 R's of migration.
And finally, we'll get to the really fun stuff, the almost science fiction tools that are required for moving mass amounts of physical data and converting those tricky databases.
And it really does have to start with that strategy, because without the organizational alignment, the tools and methods are basically useless. You're just running really fast in the wrong direction.
Okay, let's unpack that strategy first. The sources all point to this Cloud Adoption Framework, the CAF, as the critical starting point. What does it actually do for a company that's feeling overwhelmed?
It gives them structure. That's the main thing. It takes this, this chaos and organizes it into 6 key perspectives.
6 perspectives.
And what's really smart about it is that it forces the organization to look beyond the server rack and deal with the business realities first.
And those 6 perspectives, they're split into 2 groups, right?
Exactly. They divide very neatly into business capabilities, the organizational side, and technical capabilities.
Let's start with the organizational side then, the business part. I feel like that's where things go wrong most often.
It is. The first perspective is business. This is all about the ROI. The big question, why are we even doing this?
Is it to save money?
Right. Is it to save money on hardware and cooling bills? Or is the real goal to unlock agility, to let you innovate faster than the competition? That core why has to be settled at the executive level.
And after the why, we hit the people perspective. And based on what we've read, I suspect this one gets neglected a lot.
You're absolutely right. It's the most human part of the whole process. And it's not just about, teaching your staff a few new AWS consoles.
It's change management.
It's fundamental change management. You have to tackle that fear that automation is going to eliminate jobs. The best migrations we see start these programs a year, maybe more, ahead of time.
So people see cloud skills as a career boost, not a threat.
Exactly. If your best people are scared, they're going to resist, maybe even unconsciously.
Which ties right into that third organizational piece, governance.
Governance is all about control, risk, compliance, rules, who's in charge now, who owns the budget.
Right. If you just let every team deploy whatever they want.
You're inviting chaos, massive security risks, runaway costs. So this perspective is about setting up the rules of the road and accountability before anyone gets the keys.
So those 3, business, people, governance, that's the framework that decides if a migration can even happen smoothly.
Yeah, and then you get to the technical capabilities, which is all about how it happens. That side starts with the platform perspective. This is the architect's playground. What's the future state going to look like?
Are we using managed services? Are we going serverless? That kind of thing.
Precisely. It's the blueprint for where you're going.
And then the big one, the security perspective. Moving all that proprietary data has to be terrifying.
It's about baking in protection from day one. You're moving your crown jewels across different environments. You have to guarantee encryption. You have to make sure access rules are tight during the whole transition.
Yeah.
It's a huge technical hurdle.
And finally, you've moved. What now?
Yeah.
The operations perspective.
Right. How do you keep the lights on? Operations covers monitoring, patching, incident response. The cloud changes how you operate.
Amazon might be patching the hardware, but you still need to watch your apps.
And your costs. This part makes sure the system keeps running long after the migration team has declared victory and gone home.
That's a really solid foundation.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got the organizational and the technical framework down. We have our strategy. Now let's shift to the methods, the actual plan for moving each individual application.
This is where we get to the famous 7 R's of migration.
The 7 R's.
These are the tactical choices. For every single application in your portfolio, you have to pick one. And this is where that trade-off between the speed and long-term efficiency really comes into play.
Okay, let's start with the most common one, the low-hanging fruit.
That is Rehost. Everyone knows it as lift and shift.
Lift and shift.
You take the application exactly as it is, all its bugs, all its inefficiencies, and you just plop it onto a virtual server in the cloud, an EC2 instance.
So zero code changes.
Zero. That's why it's so fast, but
But you're just renting someone else's data center, right? You're not getting any of those cool cloud benefits like auto-scaling or elasticity.
precisely. It's a fast start, but it can be a long-term trap. So a small step up from that is replatform.
Sometimes called lift, tinker, and shift.
That's the one. You keep the application code the same, but you swap out an underlying part for a managed cloud service.
Give me a quick example of that.
Okay, so maybe you have a database running on a server you have to patch and manage yourself. With replatform, you'd move that data to a service like Amazon RDS.
So you still use the same database, but Amazon handles all the maintenance.
Exactly. All the patching, the backups. It's a quick win without a massive rewrite.
Got it. So Rehost is a straight copy, replatform is a copy with a component upgrade. Now we get to the really strategic one, refactor or re-architect.
Refactoring, this is the gold standard. It's the most expensive and time-consuming choice up front, but it pays off the most in the long run.
This is where you actually rewrite the application to be cloud native.
Yes, you might break a giant monolithic app into tiny independent microservices, or you could go serverless with something like Lambda, where you're not managing any servers at all.
I see the long-term payoff. If you go serverless, your costs could eventually plummet because you're only paying for the exact compute time you use.
Right.
But here's the friction point. If refactoring costs, say, 10 times more upfront and pushes the ROI out by 2 years, wouldn't most CIOs just take the quick win with Rehost?
And that is the central strategic tension in every single migration project. The business wants immediate savings, which pushes you toward Rehost.
So it's a strategist's job to make that long-term case.
You have to. You have to show that Rehost just kicks the technical debt can down the road, while Refactor is what actually builds a competitive advantage for the future.
Okay, let's quickly cover the last 4 R's. These are more about what you decide not to move.
Right. Next up is Repurchase. This just means switching to a SaaS model, software as a service.
So instead of moving your clunky, custom-built CRM,
You just drop it and move everyone over to Salesforce. It's often cheaper to just buy an off-the-shelf solution.
and then there are the apps we have to keep at home.
That's retain. You keep some legacy apps on-premise. Maybe there are weird regulatory reasons, or maybe it runs on some ancient proprietary hardware that you just can't virtualize.
The sensible choice for things that are too risky to touch.
Exactly. Don't move it if you don't have to.
And my personal favorite, the one that provides instant gratification.
Retire. This is the audit. You look at your whole portfolio, and you find the servers that are running, but nobody knows why.
The dark debt.
The dark debt. Studies show it can be 10, even 20% of an enterprise's servers. You just turn them off. That's pure profit, immediate cost savings that can help fund the rest of the project.
That's brilliant. Get rid of the waste before you pay to move it. Okay? And the 7th R, relocate.
Relocate is a very specific one. It's mostly for enterprises that are heavily invested in, say, VMware. Services like VMware Cloud on AWS let you move those entire environments without rewriting apps or buying new hardware. It's a niche, but a very important one.
Strategy set. Methods chosen. Now we get to the logistics. The sheer physicality of data. How do you move petabytes of data when mathematically uploading it over the internet could literally take decades?
It's a real limitation, and it forces us back into the physical world. This is where the AWS Snow family comes in. These are physical devices for offline data transfer.
So you're saying it's literally faster to ship a hard drive across the country.
Exponentially faster, even with huge bandwidth. Physics is physics.
And they have devices for every possible scale, right? Starting small.
The smallest is the AWS Snow Cone. It's this tiny, really rugged device, maybe the size of a tissue box.
Wow.
It holds between 8 and 14 terabytes. It's perfect for a small office or some edge computing task. You fill it up and literally ship it back to AWS in an overnight box.
Okay, so if the snow cone is the backpack, What's the heavy-duty suitcase?
That would be the AWS Snowball Edge. It looks like a gray, bomb-proof suitcase. It is the workhorse of the family.
And it comes in 2 flavors.
2 versions. There's a storage-optimized one that holds 80 terabytes, and then there's a compute-optimized one that holds a bit less data, about 42 terabytes. But, and this is wild, it can actually run some of your EC2 instances on the device itself.
While it's in transit.
Yeah. While it's in the field, or in transit, it's an incredible piece of edge computing hardware.
Okay. And then, for anyone listening who thought they had big data, we get to the main event.
The AWS Snowmobile.
This is where it feels like science fiction.
It really does.
Yeah.
We're talking about a 45-foot ruggedized shipping container on the back of a semi-truck. It's a literal mobile data center on wheels.
And it moves how much?
Up to 100 petabytes of data in one trip.
Just visualize that for a moment. A shipping container with 100 petabytes of your company's most critical data driving down the freeway. What's the process when that thing shows up?
It's a huge logistical operation. It rolls up to your data center. They plug it directly into your building's power and network, and then you start the offload, which itself can take days or weeks.
And when it's full?
When it's full, it's escorted by a security team all the way to an AWS data center where they unload it directly into the cloud. It's just an amazing example of how physical reality still dictates how we move the largest data sets.
So that handles the giant blocks of data. But there's one last really critical challenge: the live databases. You could just turn off a database to copy it. You'd lose transactions, cause a huge outage.
This is solved by the AWS Database Migration Service, or DMS. DMS is magic. It lets your source database stay fully operational during the move.
How does it do that?
It starts by making a copy of all the existing data, but then, and this is the key part, it starts replicating all the ongoing changes, all the live traffic in the background.
So the old and new databases are running in sync.
Exactly. They run concurrently until you're ready to do the final, almost instantaneous cutover, minimal downtime.
And the sources say DMS handles 2 different kinds of moves.
It does. A homogeneous migration is the easy one. That's moving, Oracle to Oracle or MySQL to MySQL. They speak the same language.
The tricky one is the other kind.
The challenge is heterogeneous migration. That's where you're moving from one database engine to a totally different one, say from a proprietary engine like Oracle to an open source one like PostgreSQL.
But wait, if the underlying structure, the schema, is completely different between Oracle and PostgreSQL, how does DMS translate that?
So DMS itself doesn't. DMS just moves the data. For the structure, you need its buddy tool.
Which is?
The AWS Schema Conversion Tool, or SCT. SCT is the translator. It analyzes the blueprint of your old database, the tables, the code, the procedures, and it automatically converts that schema to work on the new database engine.
Okay, so that's the key distinction for our listener. DMS moves the actual data, the traffic.
And SCT translates the architectural blueprints so the data has a place to live in the new system.
Without that, you'd be looking at months of manual developer work.
Hugely expensive manual work. Together, they make these really complex database moves not just possible, but manageable with minimal disruption to the business.
We have covered a ton of ground in this deep dive. We started with the Cloud Adoption Framework, the CAF, which gave us the strategy.
The why and the if.
Then we moved to the 7 R's, which defined our tactical methods.
The how.
And we just wrapped up with the heavy-duty tools. The Snow family for the physical data, and DMS and SCT for the databases.
And you can really see the connection between that strategy at the beginning and the execution at the end. Most companies default to Rehost because it's fast and feels safe.
But if you look back at the CAF,
you realize that lift and shift only really satisfies the technical perspectives, like platform and operations. It often fails to deliver on that core business goal of innovation.
You're just trading short-term speed for long-term strategic debt.
That's it, exactly. The real magic of the cloud, the true ROI, it's only unlocked when you do the hard work of refactoring. When you adopt those cloud-native services, the goal isn't just to move.
It's to improve.
It's to transform what you're capable of doing.
That's the critical insight to take away from all this. And building on that idea of mandatory improvement and the fact that the retire strategy often finds that 10% of servers are just wasted energy.
It raises a really important question for you, the listener, to think about.
Before you even start planning your migration,
what application, process, or server is running in your environment right now that you could just turn off? What piece of complexity are you planning to move that you don't even need anymore?
eliminating waste should always be the first step in any transformation.
Hmm.
That wraps up our deep dive into cloud migration strategy.
Next time, we're going to be reviewing the AWS Well-Architected Framework, which is essentially the instruction manual for making sure that new cloud environment you just built is secure, efficient, and cost-effective.
We'll see you then.